Hello friends, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is my mystical Christmas tree. And today I have for you another Advent Christmas theme book for the season of Advent. This is for the third Sunday in Advent, and today I'm going to be talking about Meddling Mistletoe by Liz Johnson. I have a small sheet of notes that I had written down at work, so I'm going to be referencing that slightly. And this book is really great. It has really amazing faith themes. It really talks about like what makes a person talented per se, what is the definition of that, and what gifts has God given you to make you talented. And it is really thoughtful. It brings up a lot of thoughtful discussion. It's got the matchmaking trope, which is always really funny to me. I always think that's charming to read about. And it's even more funny because it's Daniel and Whitney are the two, and then the matchmaking is supposedly between Ruby and Daniel. So there's like, it's sort of like a love triangle too, I guess, which I think is also interesting. And Daniel is like a 30-something-year-old man, and he's coming to help his aunt, his elderly aunt, with her hotel and bakery and like antique shop. Well, okay, let me back up. She doesn't own the bakery. She owns an antique shop, but it revolves around a bakery and a hotel too, because this book is in the Red Inn theme series, the Red Inn series from Liz Rose. So there's other books in this series that go along with this one, but I think it's just like, it's loosely connected. I don't think it's really necessary to read the other books to understand this one. But this book follows Whitney and Daniel is coming in to help his elderly aunt with her antique shop. And his aunt is trying to set him up with one colleague that she's working with the antique shop. I think it's like going out of business or something, because there's this business-esque woman named Ruby, and Ruby and Daniel, his aunt wants them to get together, even though it is very clear that they do not go together whatsoever. They have no chemistry, and I don't even understand where his aunt is coming from with matchmaking them. Because throughout the whole book, even when they first meet each other, you can tell that they don't really like each other. Or at least Daniel doesn't like Ruby. You can tell that Ruby wants him to like her, but it's like Ruby's trying too hard. And that's like where the matchmaking gone wrong comes in, because Whitney is the one who is really perfect for Daniel, actually. And she is I think she's also almost 30. She might be between 26 and 29. I don't remember her exact age. But she comes in and she stays at the Red Inn Hotel that is ran by one of her close friends who's named Marie. And she ends up becoming a nanny for Marie and her husband, because Marie is so busy at this time of year. And the hotel is kind of like opened impromptu. It's not normally open during the winter. So it's kind of like Whitney is an impromptu nanny for her friend, and Whitney and Daniel, their romance is so sweet. It's so sweet. It's really wonderful watching them get to know each other, because Whitney is kind of trying to help his aunt get Ruby and Daniel together, even though she doesn't think they're a good match either. And she's kind of roped into doing this because his aunt like offers to pay for her baking school. She's going to culinary school for baking, I think. And that's where the whole what makes a person talented versus like God-given talents and what God's calling you to do kind of comes in. Because Whitney is very confused and she's sort of lost in her life and she doesn't really know what kind of dream she has for herself. And it's all explained really beautifully in this book. I think Liz Johnson covers really well that even though you are like in your late 20s, like early 30s, you still don't really necessarily have a grasp on what you want to do with your life, and that is okay. Liz makes it very clear that that is more than okay, and Daniel helps Whitney realize what her dream is and what her talents are and what God is calling her to do. And that's like really beautiful to me. I love that this is a very faith-based book. It talks about the birth of Jesus a lot, talks about the true meaning of Christmas. It is perfect for the Advent season. And it is just very cozy. It's a cozy Christmas book too. And there's lots of great characters in it. Daniel has a great family. His aunt is really funny, even though at times she seems a little bit overbearing and kind of annoying at some parts in the book, but overall you can overlook that. And I listened to this on Libby, so it should be free if you have the Libby app. And I think it's probably also on Audible. It might be on Kindle Unlimited too. I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar with Kindle's catalog. But this book, it was really good. The audiobook was really great. I love listening to audiobooks, and I love it when they have a good narrator. And this narrator she was really great. I don't remember her name exactly, but she did a great job. She really put a lot of heart into the book, and the audiobook narrator really is what makes or breaks the book for me. So it's always nice when there's like a good narrator, because then sometimes when the narrator's bad, I don't always want to finish the book. But it is very cozy, and this book definitely reminds me of Hallmark, and it reminds you of like the true meaning of Christmas, as I've stated. And it really goes on a great faith journey too with Daniel, because Daniel is someone who has not been successful in love, and that's why his aunt is trying to matchmake him with this woman named Ruby, but very clearly it doesn't work. But she's just trying to get him back into the arena of wanting, like he wants to be with someone, but it's hard for him to open up to people. And because he had a broken engagement, he was going to get married to this woman named Lauren, I think is her name, and she was really crappy to him. I understand completely why he's so guarded and like unsure of himself, because she was very mean to him and made him unsure of like who he is as a person. And it's really interesting watching him become self-assured again through his friendship and romance with Whitney, because Whitney kind of shows him that he's perfect the way that he is, and it's really, really cute. And they have a very sweet, slow burn romance. It's just wonderful, like friends to lovers. And they both really help each other grow as people, which is also something that I think is really nice for the Christmas season. It's like reminding yourself that it's okay to be unsure of what you want in life, and that even though everything is moving so fast right now and everyone seems like they have their whole life together, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to. And it's really like Daniel coming back to his faith through him falling in love with Whitney. And that is really, really, really beautiful. I love that part so much because he's really coming back to God through his like blooming love for Whitney. And I really think it's really sweet with that their budding love is also like intertwined with God. It is really great faith themes for this time of year. And there's really great, Marie's family is great too, because the kids that Whitney nannies are really funny, and it's really sweet watching them like do things together, because Whitney does like Christmas activities with the children and Daniel as like they're hanging out. It's kind of like they're going on dates while she's nannying Marie's children. And it's really sweet watching them like as like a little impromptu family, like doing all of these wonderful Christmas related activities together, and seeing Daniel and Whitney like grow closer as they do these family oriented things together. It's just really wholesome. This romance is super wholesome. I was like, it's like eating a really nice, warm, fluffy sugar cookie. That's what it feels like to me. It is like the epitome of like a sugar cookie and a cup of hot chocolate, and it just makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. And I just think the best part for me is that Daniel comes back to his faith through his love, or his blooming love with Whitney. That's like the best part of the book to me. And it just really shows you that love and faith go hand in hand. And I also love that Whitney grows as a person with Daniel too, and she eventually learns that it's okay to not have your life together, and she ends up learning what her dream is by meeting Daniel, because Whitney had this big dream when she was a kid and she got hurt by it, and it was really heartbreaking to hear Whitney's story. And it is just it's so sweet how she opened up to it with Daniel, and how Daniel helped her work through her emotions from that story when she was a kid. And he kind of helped change her perspective on what dreams are and what it means to be talented, because Whitney doesn't think she's good at anything because she can't like keep a hobby, or she just is really wishy-washy with things. And he kind of shows her that no, she's not wishy-washy. She just, I mean, with the hobbies, yes, she is sort of wishy-washy, but overall as a person, she herself is very grounded and stable, and she doesn't really understand that. And Daniel shows her perfectly that she's always there for her friends, and that's what makes her a stable and grounded person. And that is what God is calling her to do, is to help her friends when they're in need. He's not calling her to like do all these other things that she thinks she has to do. It's like God's will versus what you think you ought to be doing. And I really like that aspect of the book too. It's really interesting. So she ends up understanding that her dream is baking. She loves baking, and her dream is also helping, her dream is also helping her friends. And that is something that is like the most important thing with Whitney's growth, is that she becomes self-assured, she becomes grounded in who she is as a person, and Daniel becomes grounded in who he is as a person. And it's just, they both help each other become the best versions of themselves. And in the end, it's just really sweet watching the conclusion of their romance. I really hope that, I know that I said this seems like a series of like different couples getting together and stuff, but I hope there will be a sequel with Whitney and Daniel and their like happily ever after, I guess, because the conclusion was really nice. And it really made me want to know more about their story and how they end up and where they are later in life. Because watching them grow together in the very short time that they were together in the book, it felt like authentically getting to know one another, even though it was a short amount of time in the terms of the book plot. It felt really authentic though. It did not feel like insta-love, which is something that kind of bothers me. I'm not a big insta-love person, but this definitely did not feel like insta-love. It felt authentic and organic, and the conclusion was, it left me wanting to read more. So I really am going to read more of Liz Johnson because she's a really great author. And I hope she has more Christmas books, because I would totally be on board to reading more of them, because I'm going to try and make videos for Christmas books until like the middle or the end of January, because the Christmas season in the Catholic Church goes from December 25th till like January 13th or the middle of January. So I'm going to try and keep doing Christmas videos up until that point, if not later than that, because I'm just really enjoying my Christmas books this year. It has been one banger after another, and it's just really enjoyable to me. And I love talking about faith-themed books, because God is the reason that I am doing this, to spread the word and to help people if they're struggling with their faith. Maybe they can get something out of my video while I'm talking about a book that has to do with God. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Meddling Mistletoe by Liz Johnson. I hope you read it. I gave it 5 stars. It was really great. It is a beautiful book for this time of year. And I'm just thankful for my channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate all of you. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, friends.